take you to this now. We're going live to Mthatha, where a fresh student protest have erupted after Manelisi Mampane was freed on bail yesterday. The Walter Sisulu University's residence manager faces murder and attempted murder charges after he allegedly shot at students during a protest 2 months ago. Newzroom Afrika's Liyema Vumisa now joins us live. Liyema, very good morning to you. Tell us about what you can see from your vantage point and also how this protest was sparked.
A very good morning to you, Aldrin, and to Newzroom Afrika viewers. Coming to you live from Mthatha, just opposite Walter Sisulu University campus, right here in Mthatha. Now, this is the visuals, as my colleague then, Dabezinhle, will try to zoom in and show you. That is a police hippo that was trying to disperse the students who gathered in the early hours of this morning at about 5 a.m. And they then closed the N2, that is the main road. If you are coming from Dutywa and getting into town, that is the main road then that you would use. So they put up tires and they burnt those tires. So even motorists have had to then, divert their routes and use alternative routes, as this main road is the mostly and commonly used route. Now, of course, this protest would come just after the news yesterday that we heard that the residence manager at this very same institution, WSU, was in fact released on 10,000 rands bail following alleged shooting of student Sisonke Mbolekwa, 24-year-old, and injuring others. Now, what you can see right now, Aldrin, is that students have gathered. Obviously, they are wearing balaclavas and they even have cardboards trying to obviously shield themselves from the police as they are firing rubber bullets, currently trying to disperse those students. I do understand they did in fact try to torch the hippo, but then it had to go back, so that as you can see, that is the vehicle then that is trying to fire constantly, firing rubber bullets at the students. Now, these students are adamant that they will not stop up until they get justice for those students who were shot by the residence manager, allegedly, that is. So currently the police are on scene right here, but we can't get close. I can tell you, Aldrin, when we tried to get close, we did in fact, experience the tear gas. So the students themselves are protecting themselves by wearing scarves and balaclavas. But what we know so far is that academic studies have then had to be halted as a result of this. I just spoke to a student who did not want to appear on camera, who was telling us that for about 6 weeks they have had then to stop, 6 days I think, they've had then to stop studying because of these incidents surrounding the arrest and now the release on bail of the residence manager, Manelisi Mampane.
Yeah, and yesterday as well, following the judgment, we heard from one of the family members speaking about how disappointed they are. This is now family members of Sisonke on this judgment that has been handed down, even going as far as saying that it seemed as though that the presiding officer, the magistrate, was biased.
Absolutely, Aldrin. And in fact, the family spokesperson that we spoke to yesterday telling us there that they intend to take the judge that was presiding over the matter to the Judicial Service Commission because they are suspecting that, or rather alleging, that he was biased. As then you would know, we were not allowed as the media to go inside the court proceedings. But what I can tell you is that when we were listening to that judgment that was being handed down by Judge Xolo, what we did witness is in fact true, that the judge had to adjourn in the middle of the judgment because he, supposedly was attending to an urgent matter outside, but then came back and told us that he in fact is an acting senior magistrate, so therefore he had to sign on for other magistrates. But that is what then the family spokesperson, Tokolanis, yesterday was telling us, that he believes that the Walter Sisulu management, working in cohorts with some of the senior management right here in the Mthatha Magistrates Court, are in fact involved in trying to release, allegedly, Manelisi Mampane. So they intend to take the Judge Xolo to the Judicial Service Commission, and also they will be appealing that release.
Visuals are playing out there, Liyema, is just another reminder or reminiscent of that previous protest that had taken place, which led to that court case now against the residence manager, and also, of course, the death of Sisonke. But I think the other thing around this is for the university, some of the lessons that have been learned from the previous incident that took place, and how do you prevent it from escalating to that level again?
Tear gas, as you can see there, Aldrin, being deployed by the police service once again, and it is, you see that student is in fact taking that tear gas and throwing it back to the hippo right there. Those are live visuals coming from the Mthatha campus, Walter Sisulu University. As you rightfully mentioned, Aldrin, this is not the first incident, particularly a protest that is being staged and organized by students. Obviously, the previous time they were protesting for various and different reasons. Amongst them was the conditions on residences that they reside in and the fact that they are not being properly maintained. And then that was when the unfortunate incident befell one of those students who were part, in fact, of that student protest, Sisonke Mbolekwa, who was allegedly gunned down, not by police, but allegedly by the residence manager. So today, the students have also gathered. In fact, we do understand, Aldrin, that they did have a briefing yesterday at about 4 p.m. right after that judgment was handed down by Judge Kolo, releasing Mampane on bail. They then congregated at one of the university's halls to discuss the way forward. And I suppose then, as we woke up, this is their way forward. Scores of students, as you can see there, have gathered just outside the gates, main entrance of Walter Sisulu University, demanding that everything be shut down up until justice is served for the student that was fatally shot in the previous protest.
Yeah, I guess some people are also looking at this, Liyema, and asking themselves that why would these students take their protest and disappointment in a court decision to the doorsteps of the university and not before the court, as an example, and knowing as well that with the hearings, the bail application hearings, they have been outside that court protesting. But again, as it has been stated before, that when it comes to bail, it's not necessarily a question of guilt or innocence, but rather whether the person, the accused, is a flight risk.
Absolutely, and that is what I suppose then, Aldrin, the students don't quite have a firm grasp of, that the fact that the accused, which is the residence manager in this case, Manelisi Mampane, is out on bail, they cannot then be able to distinguish that to the trial that is still yet to commence, where then his case will be tried and ultimately the verdict will then come out. So all they think of is that if he is outside, whether on bail or whether or not the actual case he has been found innocent against it, they just do not want to see him anywhere outside, and hence why then they have staged this protest. Obviously, when we tried to speak to them yesterday, they said they did try to be as innocent as they can, trying to follow all the precautionary measures and also abiding by the law of, informing the university whenever they want to stage a protest. But then right now they are obviously, they have exhausted those means, and hence they then did not even inform the university of what is transpiring here. They just woke up in the early hours of today and decided to burn tires. But then it really proves, Aldrin, that for them, justice is just a facade, for a lack of a better word, if I can put it like that, because they believe that had justice been really, a thing of the South Africa, of right here in South Africa, then they wouldn't have had to resort to this means. However, I strongly believe then that if it involves violence, well, one would then ask themselves whether or not it is in fact still within the correct means of doing that. I just want then my colleague, Newzroom Afrika, to show you the side that these then are the cars that they've had, to be diverted from that N2 because it is closed. Normally here, Aldrin is a suburb, so you would not see this a multitude of cars, but because that main road is closed, all of the cars now are flocking to this direction. Obviously, the police are the ones directing them to it. We do understand that even the district office is here, but later on in the day then we should obviously be seeing some senior officials within the South African Police Service. Currently, we do not understand any management of Walter Sisulu University to be on site, but we are still going to be continuing to monitor the situation here.
Yeah. And as we've been speaking and watching and monitoring those visuals, Liyema, seeing that the number of students at that particular point that you were showing us with your camera operator, that number increasing, and also looking at the stuff that are being burned as well. Not too sure whether those are tires, but I saw some sponges there as well. Not too sure whether those could be from their beds. But speak to us about whether you've heard of any injuries as yet.
Absolutely. Well, Elgin, again, just to give you those visuals there, the sponges that the students are using are those hard ones, not your normal sponges. I understand they are the ones that are used rather the ones that they use to build some of the shelters that they use. And they are using them currently to shield themselves from the bullets that are being fired by police at them. Alongside some of the other materials that they have in their hands. But they are wearing balaclavas because they do not want to be identified, and also some of them are wearing scarves because the tear gas that has also been deployed is in fact going to harm them if they do not shield themselves. As we continue then to give you those live visuals coming through here in Mthatha, that is Walter Sisulu University, we understand that this is as a result of the release on bail of the accused in the matter of killing of a student then, that is Sisonke Mbolekwa. So these students have taken to the streets, they've closed the N2 road, and right now they are burning tires once again, demanding that justice be served for that student that was fatally wounded in a previous incident.
Liyema, Vumisa there joining us from Mthatha outside the Walter Sisulu University there. As you can see, breaking news on your screen. Fresh protest erupting outside the Walter Sisulu University. Student clashing with the police after the murder. Accused residence manager Manelisi Mampane was granted bail yesterday of 10,000 rand. The family spokesperson yesterday also indicating that they believe that the magistrate was biased in this matter, and they will bring a complaint against the magistrate.